This one's for the culture. Me and wifey in the room thinking of a master plan, thinking how we can influence the culture from where we stand. Knowing that our steps are ordered by the master's hand, still 10 toes down, we ain't switching up the stance. The mission of this music ain't just to make them dance, trying to tell them about the rock, cause they built.
And welcome to a Valentine's Day edition of The Bond Chronicles. We hope that you all had a lovely weekend. We had the Super Bowl yesterday, phenomenal game. Hopefully you got to spend some time with friends and family. But it's an awkward situation because you had the weekend where people had stuff going on. You had the Super Bowl, you had the Super Bowl party. Valentine's Day is on a Monday, and tomorrow we have Versus.
The Versus is tomorrow.
So I don't know what you guys did for Valentine's Day. Hopefully it was something that was exciting. And if it wasn't, better luck next year. What?
I mean, I guess that's a good sentiment to have.
Or maybe you had a Galentine's Day, because apparently that's a thing.
You don't have to be a hater your whole life.
I'm not a hater.
You are.
I just think it's silly.
You can think what you want to think, but it's not silly to some people.
Okay. I'm not going to go there. So if you chose to have that, congratulations to you as well. But you know how we do. The world constantly is giving of information. And so this week we're going to stay away from one relationship, but we're going to revisit another relationship.
I don't think we've actually talked about them.
We did. We definitely covered that.
What did we cover?
The blow up and pieces of it. Like, I know we've talked about DaBaby and DaniLeigh when that happened. It might have been tied into another show, but we definitely talked about it.
I think maybe it was just tied into another show, but I don't think I feel like we didn't spend a bunch of time talking about it. I could be wrong. We're almost at 50 episodes. It was a lot.
Officially episode 48, but we've done some bonus stuff and others, so we're probably past 50 to be honest, but officially episode 48.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who are not aware, DaBaby and DaniLeigh were together, had a baby, no pun intended, and then DaBaby and DaniLeigh broke up, and that breakup, he basically said she was a side chick the whole time. He didn't take her very serious. Naturally, she was hurt and offended. And then her brother decided to come to her aid. Rightfully so. However, and I believe we talked about this at that time, DaBaby isn't really someone that you do that with. Like, you have to be of a certain level to challenge him because he's fought many people and
he's killed someone.
He has. I was going to get to that. At many shows, people have gotten on stage and he's knocked them off stage. He has a reputation and has been consistent in his ability to follow through. And the brother, in his defending of his sister, rightfully so or not, we don't know what happened. But yeah, we definitely talked about that because the police was called and all that. Like, we definitely had a conversation about that.
Okay.
Nonetheless, he said, the brother, Brandon Bills, Brandon Bills made it very clear that when he sees DaBaby, it is on site. So, naturally, DaBaby had not run into him up until this past weekend at a bowling alley, of all places. It was apparently a celebrity event. Chris Brown was supposed to be there. Like, a lot of people were there. It was like an event in Malibu. So this wasn't just like the local AMF bowling lanes in your local hood. Like, this was an event. There was tons of cameras, and you saw that in the altercation. So from what I understand, and there I'm sure more will come out, is that Brandon approached DaBaby. Now, it's Super Bowl weekend in LA. For those of you who haven't been living under a rock, it's been nuts in LA for quite some time. We've talked about the smash and grabs that were going on, with the groups of 15 to 20 people were robbing these stores. People have been dying. The governor or mayor, I forget who it was, basically said, the police chief said, we can't defend you.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah, like
don't call us.
Like it's been bad. And so naturally, if you're an entertainer, it would make sense that if I'm going to LA, Ice-T put something out as well saying
there are 50,000 active
gang members, rappers. If you're coming here,
just know that.
Just know that.
So basically,
everyone that's anyone is on high alert. So if I'm DaBaby, I also would be on high alert, which means if I'm going out to a bowling alley, I'm probably going to have a good amount of people with me.
Security.
That can fight and also probably may be strapped if you know him and his history. So I think what we saw was an individual who said some things and maybe even believed those things. But you have to understand the time and place. And if you are by yourself or with, I think he said he had one other person with him, that's not the person or the place to air out grievances. And what led to this, if you haven't seen it already, I can try and find some clips and put it up for you. DaBaby walked, there was a confrontation.
I was gonna say, like, it looked like they were arguing.
Yeah, so they got probably about as, they were a little farther from here as us, but they were pretty close.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he was obviously in striking distance.
Correct.
I'll just say that.
So DaBaby, for whatever reason, no one up to this point has produced the audio of what was said, but he struck first.
I'm gonna assume that it was along the lines of he was still talking trash.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we here now. Like, you done said all this stuff over the internet and you in my face.
Yeah.
And I'm not about to spend a bunch of time going back and forth with you. On site means on site. So all you see was DaBaby swing and, the jump ensued from there.
But I guess what is perplexing to me is if Brandon, I don't know Brandon at all, and you seem to be fine. You've got back on the internet. If your sister's been with this man long enough to have a kid with him, I think you have an idea of who he is.
Yeah, for sure.
We I guess you call us media at this point, we recognize who he is. So if you are within striking distance, as you say, why would you have something in your hand?
He had something in his hand?
He had like a cup of something. Someone had a cup that was really close. I thought it was him.
Oh, I didn't see him with something in his hand.
He also was still in his jacket.
Yes, I did see that, which ended up coming off at the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, pretty quickly. Yeah. But I feel like you weren't prepared to approach him. Like if I see him and I know, hey, I'm about to go talk to him, I'm going ready.
But that's the thing. Like I said, I think what it boiled down to is that he still wanted to do a bunch of talking. He wasn't ready to actually physically go at him. You can tell.
But you have to know your opponent.
I mean, and that's what to your point, he clearly had no idea or did not think that DaBaby was going to jump out there like that.
Or even
I don't know
he won't,
why.
He's the superstar. So you say, okay, maybe the superstar won't.
Yeah.
But his boys is there. You see the boys.
And that's another part of the entire equation that I don't get. You in there by yourself. You see somebody you have beef with, regardless of whether you want to do something or not, you have to accurately assess the situation.
Correct.
Like, there's no way you can tell me that he saw DaBaby there with a group full of people, and he was like, this is the best time to go and have words with this man.
Yeah.
And not be prepared to fight.
So needless to say, I'm not one that is above the jump. I think it's better if you fight one-on-one, but I understand how the streets work. And that ain't how the streets work. Like, if I'm them and you're talking about our meal ticket, like, I take that personally because you messing with all our money and all our lifestyle. So I got a problem with you. And I'm paid to solve these problems.
Facts.
So the fact that DaBaby even had to throw the first punch is problematic for me. But I think similar to, and I'm not going to bring it all the way up, but similar to certain people that get to a certain level of money, they don't care. They will just pay. And at this point, you really look away if you're Brandon to go, what are you going to sue him? So you talked all this trash. You got beat up in front of all these people, and now you're going to sue him? Well, you technically could do that.
Yeah, you could press charges. Like, he got jumped. He was assaulted.
Yeah, and apparently there's the LAPD's investigating assault with a deadly weapon because he got kicked while he was on the ground. But that's not what happens when you fight someone. Like, you don't fight someone or talk about fighting someone, then they fight you, whether you were ready or not, and then you go press charges and call the police or try and sue them after the fact. Like, that's not cool. Like, that's just not how things work. But nonetheless,
do you have any people? I mean, I guess maybe not now as much, but like if you saw them right now on
in my life,
yeah.
No, I'm too old. I got 4 kids. I can't go to jail.
I mean, if you weren't gonna get in trouble, let me add that little caveat.
No, there's some people that I would like to, for sure.
Yeah,
that I feel like I still owe for the past.
Yeah,
100%. Now, I won't do that because I'm older and I don't want to break my hands. I don't want to get in an altercation. Like, I'm a God-fearing man. I gotta set an example for my kids. But if none of that was on the table and I could get away with it, absolutely.
There's a couple people.
Still
get some.
There's a list of a couple people I would have no problem getting into an altercation with. Granted, my hair's long now, which, as we saw, that's problematic. And I don't know if he knew the baby was going to be there, but you have long hair.
Yeah, because the dude was like,
he grabbed insane. Both of them.
Yeah, he was just like,
and then he flung him because he was smart enough to realize the lane's slippery. Let me stick my feet in the gutter, and now I can get some leverage. And thank goodness he didn't rip both his braids out.
Yeah, that really sucked.
But I saw the after videos and they did some damage. So
no, I haven't seen any of the after stuff.
No, he went on live and his face he got some bruising, to say the least.
Some bruising.
But we did have to get that out of the way in relation to relationships and how they can go wrong. And I think we've had this conversation too on what happens when a couple breaks up and friends are involved or families involved. And some people say, well, I'm going to be friends with the other person either way because we were cool and they ain't got nothing to do with us. Well, sometimes you can find yourself in an interesting situation if you're no longer friends. And then you start popping off crazy to the right person or the wrong person. You end up like this. So hopefully that didn't happen to any of you guys this weekend. Hopefully everyone is in loving, lasting relationships. Hopefully you guys had great dinners. Hopefully you saw whoever you're supposed to be with on the actual day and not the day after, which would be tomorrow, because we all know that's side chick day. And no one wants to be side chick day watching a Versus. So,
but that's the thing. Like, if you're watching Versus tomorrow with, whomever, do you really feel like a side chick? Do people still feel like a side chick anymore? Like, is that still a valid thing?
I mean, you're a woman. So if Valentine's Day came and went and you were talking to someone and then it was like, oh, I'm busy tonight on Valentine's Day, but I can get with you tomorrow. Like,
we're not getting together.
It's a Monday night. Yeah. How busy can you be?
I mean,
so
for specifically this year, since it is a Monday night, like, I think it would be acceptable if we had done something, if we plan to do something the next weekend, maybe not the Tuesday. Like, if you wanted to celebrate Valentine's Day this weekend or this past weekend or next weekend, like, to me, that would have been acceptable. But I don't think I would even feel away because I don't know. I don't think I would have felt away, but I've never been in that position. So
fair. So that brings up a slightly different topic, and we've talked about the great Mike Todd. I think it was last pod.
Yeah,
and he had some advice for men with Valentine's Day.
I think it should go both ways. Like, yes, most definitely, appreciate the woman in your life, but also women appreciate the men in your life. Like, I think it should go both ways.
We could spend a lot of time there, but I don't want to go down that route because I agree with you. But Valentine's Day is definitely a woman's holiday. So
for sure.
Let's not kid ourselves. But he made an interesting takeaway. A video gave some advice to the fellas. So hopefully you followed it. Technically it's not too late. You can do something tonight or run out because this will air at noon and you still have all Monday even or Valentine's Day evening.
Like you said, it's Monday, so most people are at work. If you didn't take the day off, most people are at work.
Yeah.
So you're not celebrating Valentine's Day or whatever until tonight.
Yeah. So hopefully watch this when it dropped instead of waiting, because we're about to give you some great knowledge and have a great discussion about it. So we due to a life-changing event that we are going to be experiencing later in this year, have decided that we weren't going to do a lot for Valentine's Day.
We did decide that, yes. So we did. We decided this Valentine's Day was going to be really low-key.
And so in that, Mike Todd's response to that was, that's a trap, or that's not wise to be low-key or to not do anything. So in your experience and in your personal opinion, is he right or is he wrong?
I'm not going to say he's wrong.
So he's right.
But I don't, like, specifically for us, he's wrong. Like, I do still expect to feel appreciated tomorrow. Like, today, whatever. Like, I don't want to feel like it's just a blah day, but I'm not expecting to wake up to, roses everywhere. Like, I'm not expecting all of that. But generally speaking, I think anybody, when they say, "Oh, I don't want you to," especially women, I don't fall for it, because if you show up on a special day and everybody around her is getting special stuff and she's not getting anything special, it's going to be a problem. She might say that it's not a problem. She might have, be like, yeah, I know what I said to begin with, but now I feel away. Just save yourself some time and trouble. Go get you a little single rose, a little teddy bear, something, a little card, anything to show this woman that you love and appreciate her, blah, 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 blah. For us, though, because it's really funny that you bring this up, I was talking to my mom on, I think, Saturday after I'd finished my client's hair, and I told her that we had agreed we weren't doing a bunch. And she looked and she was just like, you better go get that man something. And I was like, no, we agreed that we weren't doing a whole hoopla lot. And she's just like, your husband. And I'm like, no. You said we weren't doing a lot. But then I remembered the Christmas a couple years ago, we had agreed we weren't exchanging gifts. And then you popped up with a Burberry bag on Christmas. And I'm like, where did this come from? And so I'm standing there like, I didn't get you anything because you said we weren't exchanging gifts. And then the conversation after that was just like, dang, I could have opened some socks or something. And I'm just like, but you told me we weren't exchanging gifts. And I felt so bad because, like, well, dang, you could have opened something. I could have got you something. And then for you to pop up with for Valentine's Day, because we haven't done Valentine's Day yet. So if I do get something from you tomorrow or whenever, like, don't be upset because I stuck with what you said. So we should be
right.
But I don't.
So we have a yes and no, because I've also said you can do little something and you should at least have a card or something. I've never said like we're not going to do anything.
No, yeah. To that extent, yes, I understand. But like gifts, because this man, his love language is gifts.
And our situation's a little different. Actually, we don't need to get into that here.
Our situation's a little different.
Because the reason why we decided to do something.
Right.
But as it stands, the contribution to that
has been different.
It's different.
Okay.
So if that was the agreement, there's a two sides to this agreement here. And
so I need to look at both sides and reevaluate is what you're saying.
Like, if we're not going to do the one, you still have to do the other. And we haven't gotten to that other, and it's getting closer. And then we've also had the Father's Day conversation. So
yeah.
Just putting that out there.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
See, we're talking in codes, but I understand what he's saying.
Right.
But generally speaking, I do think you should at least show a token of appreciation. Even if you decide that you're not going, like for us, the reason why we didn't decide is because, like you said, we've got something going on later in the year that was like, this is big. We're going to sacrifice a couple other holidays for this thing. And then we have a 1 month old, barely a month old baby. I was like, who are we going to, I mean, we could have left them with our parents. But it's a Monday. So our daughters got school. It just was inconvenient trying to figure something out for Valentine's Day this year. Because last year we went to Philly, and the year before that we did almost die a couple times.
Yeah, that was something.
And then the year before that we did Myrtle Beach.
We did do that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's okay. Like, we're not like gonna die that we're not doing anything super special. We've got a bunch more Valentine's days to come, so it'll be all right.
Yes, it will. So your advice, so then they have a follow-up question, because it's kind of like the men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Mm-hmm.
If that is understood, why don't women just say that? Why does a man have to know that even though she said that, don't believe it? Why can't she just say, no, I'm not good with that?
I think there's levels to it. And also you should know your partner. Like if I'm saying I don't want a huge deal, what would you consider a huge deal being made for a holiday or something? You take that and you like look at it, it's like, okay, well, she doesn't want this, but I know that she doesn't want the day to not be acknowledged at all. As a woman, she's not going to not want the day to be acknowledged at all. You find something in the middle, because even if she's not really expecting anything and you get her something, or, whatever, you do something, she's going to appreciate it, because even though she said what she said, you still took the time and the effort and the thought to do something anyway.
So staying there, how often do you think that those women who feel that way or who get upset because the man actually followed the rules, instructions, how often does she get him something? Because I feel like that number is low.
And it probably is.
So they'd be mad that they ain't get nothing, but they also didn't give anything. But he was supposed to know, I really did want you to get something, but I actually kept my word too and didn't get you anything. I feel like that happens a lot.
I don't know. I don't think so.
So you think the women that are mad did do something for the man, and then he was just left empty-handed?
Mm-hmm. I think specifically, like me, like I'll speak to me because I can't speak for all women. Mm-hmm. If I say I don't want something to be made a huge deal of, like I do still expect some token of appreciation, some form of appreciation on the day of. Mm-hmm. And I would also expect to give something to show my appreciation, my love, whatever, on the day of.
But you just said you didn't do nothing, and your mom had to tell you to go do something.
Well, no. Like I said, it's levels. For you specifically, there's levels. Doing nothing is unacceptable. But doing what I would normally do is not what we plan. So like I said, you find something in between.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, and it'd be a good thing. But no, I don't. I would like to think, like I said, I would like to think that even if the expectation is small for something smaller, the person is still reciprocating.
Right. Okay. Well, fellas, there you have it. If she says this is an audio adventure, man, if she says she doesn't want anything, don't believe her. But
get her a card.
It
takes 2 seconds.
Flowers aren't that expensive. Chocolate isn't that expensive. It don't got to be some lavish couple $100 dinner. You don't got to go away on a trip or anything. But you can love and basketball it with popcorn in a movie or something.
Yeah, see, that's like perfect. Lovey-dovey movie. Get your little bottle of wine. It's all good.
Walmart has a great selection of things called Oak Leaf.
Oh my God.
You can get like a half gallon for like $7. It's amazing. Shout out to Walmart. They didn't pay me for that.
He's discovered this super cheap glove. Like, what is it called? You said oak leaf?
I think it's oak leaf. I can't see it.
Oh, this super cheap brand of wine.
It is.
And I hadn't tasted it because obviously I had been pregnant and now I'm breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And so I finally tasted it. It was the red blend that you gave me?
I didn't give you anything, but yes. You did have the Moscato and the red blend.
No, I haven't had the Moscato.
You did. You said it was all right.
I don't remember that, but okay.
You did. That's why.
Maybe. Yeah. You're right. Well, the red blend was awful. I wasn't feeling it. I mean, I say it was awful, but I've
had a bunch of cheap wines, and it's probably the best one.
It's like $2.50 a bottle, and I'm not joking.
Yeah, $2.50.
And I'm just
you get like 4 glasses out of it.
And I'm just like, if you splurge like $4 or $5 more, you can get a better wine. According to him, it all tastes the same, which is
in a lot of ways
from the pits of hell. But okay,
wine, there's not a huge range to me, especially the sweet stuff, Moscatos and blends. Like now, the dry ones, you can get some dry trash wine, but the grapes probably all coming from the same little factories. They just putting a different label on it, if you ask me.
It's not true.
Okay, I'm just telling you what I believe. They all come from the same area in California, most of them. So the temperature is the same. They're probably using the same fertilizer. So where are they getting it from?
Like most places have different vineyards that they get their grapes from.
Yeah, but it's all in the same locations.
Yeah, but they all do different things.
Barely.
All right. See, that's, the uncultured part of you. You don't know. But it's cool.
That's fine.
I'll teach you.
Okay. Feel free to blow all your money on the wine when you can get some quality stuff for the low. But that leads me to our next topic, which is you said like the dinner and the popcorn is great.
Yeah.
So on Valentine's Day, if you had to pick, which one's more important? Is it the time spent or the money spent? And let me preface it. Mm-hmm. So would you rather have a nice dinner? A man comes in, he cooks dinner for you. You watch your favorite movie, you're watching Love Jones, you got the popcorn going.
Look at you knowing what my favorite movie is. Yes.
And that's a great night.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Or he could fly you to Miami for the weekend. Or fly you to Vegas for the weekend.
Getting flown out.
And all expenses paid. And you can live it up. But he might not be as focused on you. He might be in his phone. He might be with social media. He might be gambling. He might even leave you for a period of time because he wants to go do what he wants to do. Yeah. He might pay for you to go see a show.
By myself?
By yourself.
Where did I do that at? In this relationship.
Relationship.
Okay.
So which is the better look for you? Would you rather have the quality time where he's devoted to you, focused to you, but it's low budget? Or do you want the gram pictures and the experience that you can get? You can go shop. He might send you shopping while you're in Vegas, better yet. So they don't leave you for the show. But he said,
like shopping in Vegas is
hey, here's 10 grand.
That's it.
Go have a good time.
I love shopping in Vegas. I guess speaking from where I'm at in life now, experience-wise, I would prefer the time spent. One, because again, like I've done Vegas, single in a relationship. I've done Vegas.
It could be Italy. Just
I mean, well, like
LA,
like travel
for the Super Bowl weekend.
Like
it could be
There's a lot of stuff that I've done as a single woman, and there's a lot of things that I've done in a relationship.
Yeah.
So I prefer the time spent. I prefer the time spent. One, because that's my love language. Mm-hmm. Two, the money and flashy stuff, like it's super dope to start off with. Been there. But then eventually it's just like, this really isn't that fun anymore. This kind of sucks because the person thinks that, especially when that's not your love language or that's not something that you really care about. The money part is just like, you're cool, but your money is cool, but I want to spend more time with you. Like, my mom knows a lot of women who are very well-to-do. They make a lot of money, like they're good. But the men that they encounter and the men that they try to date suck because they think that money, like they can just throw money at everything and everything's fine in the relationship. When in reality, it's like, well, I make a lot of money myself, so all this money that you're throwing at me and throwing at our relationship and our problems isn't fixing anything. It's actually making things worse because I'm pissed off that I'm not spending any time with you. I'm pissed off that you're not investing in me in the relationship and emotionally in the relationship, and you think the money's just going to fix everything. And that's a common problem that I've heard from women who make above a certain amount of money. Now, broke females, yeah, that works. Females who never, I think, have been in a fruitful emotional relationship, sure, you can fly me out. You know, we can do this, we can do that. And all that doesn't matter because I've got cute pictures for the gram. All my friends are going to be jealous. But at some point, emotionally, you want more. And if this person is just using money instead of real connection, that is just stupid. It's not going to last.
Huh. So I didn't know where you would go, to be perfectly honest. But
you thought I want to get flowed out, didn't you?
I think most people would have wanted to do that.
I don't have an issue with that. It's just, you know.
I need to spend less money. Get more creative.
I mean.
But I hear you. But I just, and I'm not talking about you now. I just feel like that's tough because for me, and this is why I've always been a gift person.
Yeah, I was like stretching with that.
It's because you said throwing money at blah blah doesn't fix the problem. A lot of times it's not going to work. My thought is most relationships fail anyway. So at least if I can leave with the Birkins or the car or the house or the blowed up bank account, that's better than going into my next relationship. And now when I watch this movie, I think about this person. Or when I go to this event or go to this environment, I'm thinking about said person. Like the money gives me something more tangible that can last. I think when you spend a lot of time, I think it's even harder to probably get over situations because the emotional attachment's even stronger. So naturally, you don't get in relationships for them to fail.
I was going to say, like, you're talking about it as if, you're here this year, next Valentine's Day, I'm going to be spending it with somebody else.
But I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but everything I hear is the dating pool sucks.
Yes, I have heard that too.
So the likelihood of you making it to 2, 3, 4 Valentine's days is low. So if I only got you for a year, which one do I want? Do I want a bunch of cool romantic memories? Maybe. But would I rather do stuff I've never done before? Go places I've never done. Fly private. Drive in certain type of cars or what have you. So you say that typically it's broke women that are more impressed by the flashy. I don't disagree with that, but I also think there's a lot of rich women that if a broke dude came to him with this romantic idea of a picnic in the park and didn't buy her dope bags or wasn't buying her Dior and Chanel and was all they could offer was Michael Kors, I think she would feel away. And she would probably then call him broke and he needs to level up and he needs to do better.
But again, I think
that's
that
very
depends on
common.
the woman. I think it depends on the woman and where she is emotionally. Because like,
but it's not emotionally, and it's going to tie into our next topic. But we live in a social media era. So when she opens her Valentine's Day gifts and it's a certain type of bag or it's a certain type of jewelry, her friends are going to have something to say. Like, girl, he got you that. Like, when he maybe can't afford to pay for your nails to get done, so you got to pay for it. And now you tell your friends, yeah, I had to pay to get my nails done. Girl, what you mean you had to pay to get your nails done? Like, yeah, he's doing a lot of great romantic stuff. Yeah, he listens to you at night. But We live in a world where you got brothers, you got uncles, you got a dad, you got a mom, you got people that you're going to share these moments with. And a lot of them are probably going to look at you like, you could do better. Because they're only going to look at financially what he's providing, not how he makes you feel, because how he makes you feel isn't tangible to the world.
But to me, that doesn't matter. What other people think. One, I don't think other people's opinions of your relationship matter at all.
So take you out of this.
But most people, most logical people who understand what relationships are supposed to be like, understand that if you want to have a successful relationship, what other people think about how your relationship functions does not matter. Because the minute that you start, going with what other people's expectations of what your partner should be doing for you and your relationship's going to fail.
Show me where they would get that message from in modern day society.
It's all over the place. Since you want to speak specifically to the social media age, I follow a bunch of pages on Instagram that talk about like positive relationship imagery, positive relationship messages, like even on like the surface level, like a Christian relationship page, they tell you those.
What does TMZ in the Shade Room show you? The people with the massive followings.
That's one part of it, but
huge part of it. But
most people follow more than just TMZ and Shade Room.
And most people follow similar stuff. So they're seeing similar stuff. That's how the algorithm works.
Most women follow inspirational pages from a plethora of people. Like I see people retweeting, sharing all this relationship advice. Now, whether or not they're taking it
or believe it when it's in their face.
Yeah.
It sounds great. The Tyler Perry movies where the broke guy saves the girl from the rich guy, that sounds great. But the reality of what that looks like, she a lot of time goes back and cheats because she can't have the lifestyle. And I forget the name of the show I watched that one time. In my experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to tell you who I'm basing this off of because it's not important for y'all. But
we can have a conversation later because now I'm going to want to know.
We can have conversations. It's people I've known and I've seen that when situations presented themselves that I think were, and I have some friends, some men that are good men. And for whatever reason, the women weren't satisfied with that. They complained about money. And even though a lot of times they weren't even the ones
making any,
they wanted more. And when someone came around that could offer them a little bit more,
they dipped.
They dipped, so to speak. So I'm not saying that's all women. I definitely don't want that to be the takeaway, but I think more often than not, because we are conditioned by society in everywhere we look, and yes, the inspirational pages are great. Everybody follows inspirational pages. But real life application of most inspirational pages, I don't see in most people's life. I don't see it in a lot of my life. I like a lot of stuff. I do. And it sounds great. And the messages be great. And I'd be like, yeah, that was a nice boost to the system. But then life happens. And life is life. And sometimes that isn't enough for me. And for what a lot of people that I see and a lot of what people tolerate. They will tolerate a bunch of stuff because they don't want to give up said lifestyle, even though it's toxic.
And seeing, I guess maybe there's just something wrong with me because I've dated men with money, like who made really, really good money. Like when I was working at Long and Foster, like, yeah. But when you want a real relationship, I think, again, like the material stuff starts to not matter. Like it starts to get to the experience, the emotional attachment, the late night conversations when nobody else is up to listen to you, that person. All of those things I think make a difference. So if you're someone who's dating with intention, which a lot of women, I believe nowadays are, like when I look at a lot of the women that I know who are single, a lot of them are dating with more intention now. If you're not looking to have a long-term relationship, if you're not looking to be married and have a family, then...
But what type of man are they dating?
Well, all that, I don't know.
But that's where the Kevin Samuels and people like him come from, is because they're targeting a certain type of man. Because everywhere they look, they see that kind of lifestyle. And they want that kind of lifestyle. And all of their girlfriends are telling them, you deserve that kind of lifestyle.
But see, I don't even think that, I don't think that stereotype is as widespread as Kevin Samuels and those sorts of people would have you believe. Most people, especially in this area, and the people that I know and stuff that I see, I think they're realistic about the type of people that they want to be with. I don't think everybody's out here trying to chase a baller.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
So that leads me to the next caveat to this of not chasing the baller. Women, and I feel like I never actually see men do this. So we can get in that in a second. Valentine's Day, you know what you're going to see. Bunch of videos. Flowers, bouquets, gifts, the whole nine. Like, that's coming.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I ever see men post anything they get in my history. And again, a lot of that is based on my Facebook, which is more local, and then Instagram and Twitter. I will wait and see what Meg Thee Stallion gets Party or whoever she's dating. I think they did, but then they came out and said they didn't. But I haven't seen a picture. I don't think they've re-added pictures of themselves. I don't know. Cardi's one I have seen do some really dope stuff. I don't want to be disrespectful. Moneybagg Yo's girl did some stuff for him. But I think that's for a birthday. I will be very curious to see how these women do for Valentine's Day. And women in general. Because typically, I feel like I don't see men posting these great bouquets of flowers or this massive amount of chocolate or all these new pair of underwear or anything that they typically would get. But my bigger point is, do you feel like that's to celebrate what the man gave them, or is that to show off for the women that follow them?
I think that's too individual of a thing.
What do you mean?
Like, if I say it's mostly just to show off to other people, I could be wrong.
I mean, this is what we do in this podcast. So
I know, but what I'm saying,
we make assumptions based off our opinions of what we see.
I think it's too general to just assume that this is why people post certain things.
So why do you think they post these videos?
Because they want people to see.
Why? Do they want to see it because they're saying, wow, I have a great man?
The reason,
or your man can't do what my man did?
It could be both.
Right, that's the question.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the same person could feel both ways. It could be a bunch of reasons why somebody posts a video that they posted. Mm-hmm. You said, these people said that our relationship wouldn't last. Look at us. We're celebrating 5 in Valentine's Day together. Mm-hmm. These are the most awesome things that my partner got me when we struggled, because we were struggling last year. Like, there are so many reasons why people post those things, and all of those reasons could be attached to one post. You could feel a way about a bunch of stuff, and this one post is just like, look at all these things that my stuff is doing.
So you're showing off.
And you're happy. And
you want to throw it in people's faces.
I mean,
your example was you doubted us and we made it.
And that's one reason why people post. Or it's just like, let me show the world what my partner did for me. Like, there's a bunch of different reasons why people post, but generally speaking, people post because they want people to see.
Because they want to show off. Yes.
Sure, but that's everybody.
What do you mean it's everybody?
That's everybody. Anybody who's doing anything on social media, you're posting it for other people to see what your life is like.
Yes, but here's to me the difference. When Tabitha Brown made her post about her husband and her retiring him.
Yeah.
that didn't come off to me as I'm a dope woman, you suck at life. That was my husband was amazing to me. He stood by me, and this is my chance to repay him.
But why did she post it?
I think to inspire other people and to share how dope her husband was.
So moment that could have still been personal and private that she did not need to share, she chose to share because she wanted people to see and understand the appreciation that she has for her husband.
Yes.
How is that any different from you posting your new Yeezys?
Because that's me saying, I got these and you couldn't get them.
But that's not true. Plenty of people got them.
Not the people that follow me. Or they would have posted the picture.
Everybody doesn't post everything that they do.
That very well may be true. But
you post stuff because you want people to see it, regardless of what the reason is.
No. That's the whole point. The point is the reason. Is the reason to brag arrogantly, or is the reason for Valentine's Day to say, yo, my man's really dope. I think women post because they're always in competition. And so I'm trying to show you what my man did, and it was so dope, it was better than what you did. I don't think women are posting the videos about the dinners and the flowers and all that stuff to say their man is necessarily a good man. It's to say, I got a doper man than you got. And look at all the stuff I got that you didn't get.
One of the hashtags that I literally use on my when I post stuff like that is my husband is dope. Not my husband is doper than yours. Not my husband is better than yours. My husband is dope. I mean, if you look at the hashtags that I use when I post anything regarding us.
I'm not talking about you.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's as catty as you would like for it to seem. A lot of women, regardless of what you
women show is they're not cattiness.
A lot of women, regardless of what you might think, are really appreciative of their spouse or their significant other. I see it all the time. And a lot of the couples that we know personally.
Yeah, we have good friends and good couples. We have great examples of couples.
We do. We know a lot of dope people. But even to your example of celebrity couples, like Earlene and Holton Buggs, like they do great stuff for each other all the time.
Yeah.
Like you said, Cardi and Offset. Like, generally speaking, most of the people.
I'm specifically talking about Valentine's Day.
Again, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, like, generally speaking, like I see guys post stuff that their people have gotten them for. What?
Who? What men? You said I see men posting. What men?
For Valentine's Day specifically?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't think of that right now.
That's my point.
Like my cousins.
I'm only talking about Valentine's Day. I'm not talking about birthdays. I'm not talking about anniversaries. I'm not talking about any of that. Yes, that's naturally a two-sided, generally speaking, day. I'm not talking about Father's Day.
Like my cousins, like I know their girlfriends, their wives do dope stuff for them.
I'm friends with some of them. I ain't seen nothing. Now, maybe it'll come out by the rest of this weekend. But I don't want to put
one, you need to chill. Because
I'm friends with a couple of your family members.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I be seeing stuff. So I don't know what you be following, but I be seeing stuff.
I ain't seen nothing so far or in this past weekend. I might can revisit it.
Yeah, revisit it.
But I ain't seen nothing this weekend.
Yeah, revisit it.
Okay.
Like Kevin and Denise just got back from Venice.
Okay.
Like they planned that together. They did a bunch of dope stuff together. Thing. I'm just saying, like you trying to make it seem like, and one, I know why, because generally speaking, Valentine's Day is a day that's geared towards women. But I know and I see plenty of men being loved on, because women like to celebrate it more than men. So women are going out and making plans. They do stuff.
A woman is not going out and making Valentine's Day plans.
So I don't know. Like the dynamic of our relationship is a little bit different because I am typically the one that makes the plans. You buy the gifts.
You know how many memes I see about men? I see the same one, the black dude with the little black chick, and he says, "Oh, can I take you out?" And she's like, Yeah. And he's like, where do you want to go? And then she just leaves. I see that all the time. All the time. So if a man says, yo, I want to take you out for Valentine's, and she says, okay, where we going? He says, I don't know. You pick.
I'm totally fine with that.
Stop being you.
But I know if you ask me, if you say, hey,
I'm speaking as the people I see.
The people that I see. If a dude says, hey, let's do something.
What woman wants to plan her own Valentine's Day?
Do you have a preference of where you want to go? Like if you ask me, most women, especially for a
definitely don't know what they want to eat.
Special occasion, I already have a list of restaurants that I've been saving in my head, or they're on my Instagram, that are special occasion type places that you can take me. And since I want to show off for all my single miserable friends who apparently follow me on Instagram, I want to go to these dope places because they're definitely Instagrammable moments. So here's my list of recommendations. You pick one.
We've never done that.
You never asked me. I literally when we went to Miami.
Yes, that was. I
literally had a list of places that I wanted to go.
Makes sense. We're talking about your birthday.
I literally have places that I would go.
Okay. Well, then not this year for your birthday. Well, maybe for your birthday.
Because we're still doing something for your birthday, so we're still doing something for my birthday.
I just said maybe, and I backtracked.
Yeah. Backtrack that.
So maybe, again, your birthday's at a terrible time, but we'll figure something out. The point being, okay, we're going to agree to disagree on this here issue because I believe women post for clout and for, what is the thing that when people like it, it does something to your brain? A like is like crack or something.
Endorphins.
Yeah, that's why they do it. They do it because they want to show off and they want people to celebrate them, not the man. That's my premise.
Well, I post because I appreciate.
So we've had disagreements about you not posting on a holiday about stuff I did.
Okay, it was one time, and you threw a fit because you was scrolling through Instagram,
and since
you
then,
saw all of this stuff
I did
that people had posted.
I did,
and my argument with you was, I've just been spending the day enjoying the time with you and being in the moment, but I wasn't going to not post anything. Mm-hmm. And then when I finally posted, you didn't even like the post. You didn't respond to anything.
It came after I told you should post. The sincerity is low.
So, I mean, since he wants to get into this on the podcast, we can go there. But how frequently do you post me on your Instagram? Or your Snapchat, or your whatever social media that you use? How frequently do you
on a holiday?
No, I mean period. Since you want to go there,
no, I don't.
You don't.
No, right? You also don't like any of the pictures I take of you.
I'm not done.
And I did actually.
I'm not done.
Actually, I did. The last time we went out to dinner, I posted both of us.
I mean, how often do you post just me?
Like an appreciation post, just because?
Yeah.
No, I never do that.
You never do that. Correct. Exactly. I do it way more frequently than you.
When?
Bruh,
when was the last time?
If you go through my stories, I have a whole story.
The story that disappears in 24 hours?
No, what is it? The same stories that you can put under the highlight reel? I have a whole highlight reel of all the times that I've posted about you or for us or whatever.
And how many times were we driving where I couldn't do nothing?
That's not the point.
You posted a picture of us. You didn't post a picture of me like, oh, look at my dope husband.
That's literally
you have a thing of that?
Yes, it's literally what the hashtag
I don't see any of that.
My husband is dope. I was looking at it the other day because I think you had gotten me this wasn't recent. You had gotten me something. It was when we were on vacation with Javon and Sheena.
Which time?
Mexico.
We went to Mexico twice.
The second time.
Okay.
The second time. Like I posted a picture or something or whatever. And then the next one was like, don't let people tell you that having a husband that spoils you isn't cool. Like it was something. Like I can't remember exactly what it says.
That's on
it's on my Instagram.
Did you tag me?
Yes. Or maybe not. I don't know. Okay. But either way, it's in the same highlight reel.
I don't know how these little circle balls work.
Look, that's not the point. The point is, I post that I appreciate and love you all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Then I stand corrected.
Yeah, you do that.
All right. I've been corrected. Very well. So that leads me to, we got 2 more things that I did want to talk about.
Yeah.
So a lot of times on Valentine's Day, it's also a great time to propose. And this goes right along with the videos because you got a whole bunch of videos that's coming about people getting proposed to this weekend. Hopefully you guys saw them. I know we did as well. So my first question is, proposing on Valentine's Day. I know proposing at someone else's wedding sucks. Like, that's trash.
That's just awful.
But proposing on birthdays and Valentine's Day, maybe Mother's Day won't really count. So birthdays and Valentine's Day, is that tacky?
My birthday, I wouldn't mind because my birthday is all about me anyway. So what better way to make it even more about me than propose to me? Valentine's Day, I think, is a little cliche, especially because you're kind of expecting it. If you're in a relationship and you think that's what's going to happen, you think that's where you're headed, all of the major holidays, you're looking for it. If you think that that might be on your partner's mind, you're looking for it. So Valentine's Day to me is a little cliche. Now, albeit it doesn't make it any less romantic if, that's what someone decides to do. But I think it's, it's Valentine's Day, of course.
Okay. So 2 more questions.
2 more questions.
Should the 2 people have a conversation about how the woman wants to be proposed to? And should the man then follow what the woman wants in a proposal?
So we've talked about this, and we've also listened to this conversation we had on another podcast.
Have we talked about it on here?
We have not talked. Right. We talked about it separately. So it's just interesting that you want to have this conversation.
I mean,
it's okay. I'm ready for you. Yes, I do think your partner should know how you would like for that moment to happen. It's something that most girls think about in some way, shape, or form for a really long time. And it's not even necessarily about, to me, what goes on Instagram, but it's more so about the story that you're going to tell people later. Like the story that you tell your kids or the story that you tell your grandkids if you have been together long enough for that to happen. Those are moments that stick out in your mind when you think back on your life. So if I have a specific expectation of things that I would want to happen, like if I want my family to be there, or if I want, XYZ, or, if there are specific details that I think you should know, I do think that's a conversation to be had. And so if I'm taking the time out to tell you those sorts of things, I would think because you love me and because you want to marry me and you want to make me happy, you'll take those things into consideration. Not necessarily follow my instructions or the things that I say to a T, but you would take what I would like into consideration because you love me and you want to marry me and spend the rest of your life with me.
Okay. So obviously I disagree.
No,
but I understand the sentiment. I think the only issue I have is a man could have an ideal way he wants to propose as well. And if he's proposing, I feel like he should get to propose how he wants to propose, since he's basically saying, I love you and want to spend the rest of my life with you. Do I think it's beneficial to have a conversation? Sure. If he doesn't follow it, get over it. He still wants to marry you. Excuse me. What are we talking about?
So, how do I want to put this?
Take your time.
So, I think that's rude. Especially the way that you put it. oh, well, just because I want to marry you and just because this, that, and the third, you should just be happy that this is how I'm doing it. Just be happy that you're getting proposed to at all.
Yes.
Bruh, calm down.
Like,
don't do that. That's not cool.
Like somebody is saying, I want to be with you forever. And you're concerned about how they said, I want to be with you forever.
I'm not, the fact of the matter is, if we've had a conversation, we specifically had a conversation about how I would like for something to be done. And let's take the proposal out of it. We're not talking about being proposed to. I specifically have told you how I would like for something to be done. You understand set expectation. But instead of following expectation, you go off and do something else completely different. In what situation is that ever okay?
It can always be okay. Say I tell you, hey man, I want this pair of shoes. And I really want these pair of shoes. But you know me. Or you know that you have preferences within reason. And you give me a different pair of shoes. Another dope pair of shoes. I'm not going to kill you for getting me the different pair of shoes. Would I feel some kind of way? Maybe.
No, you would. You, Raymond Vaughn, would feel a way.
So there's I have 5 shoes. If you got me any of those 5, I'm not going to be mad.
Yeah.
I'm going to be elated.
Right. But exactly. So there are these 5 shoes, and I know them all. I've got them in a note. One of my friends said one of those are impossible to get. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Impossible.
Money.
PJ Tuck can get them anyway.
It's money. Yeah. It's more of a money
thing. Yeah.
So there are these 5 shoes. And I know these 5 shoes, but there's another 5 shoes underneath. And I have the ability to get one of the top 5 shoes, but I choose to get one of the lower 5 shoes for whatever reason. But I had the ability to get one of the top 5 shoes. Do you still get to have an attitude? Because I still got you some dope shoes, but I could have gotten one of the top 5 shoes.
I mean, I wouldn't have an attitude.
You would have an attitude.
I would ask a question like, what happened? And then you're assuming that the top 5 were available. My thought process is the top 5 may not have been available. So the way you wanted everything to be perfect and all these people, I couldn't have done that. But I still proposed. I still got you something. And I would like to believe typically it was still done in a good way. Now, no, it's not the story that you can tell other people, which goes to the videos being posted, not for your husband, but for your own self. But that's not what's important in this conversation. Your whole point is, what is the story I'm going to tell people? Who cares what you're going to tell people? You made it.
I'm not saying
you got married to the dope guy.
I'm not saying that the story specifically is what's super important. I'm saying the memory is what's important. So no.
You're going to make a million memories once you're married.
Fine, bro. You got it. You got it.
I don't know. It's just baffling to me.
No, you're acting like somebody. I'm going to say no because I don't like the way that you proposed to me.
That's
not what I'm saying.
But that could happen.
And then if someone does that, then you shouldn't marry that person anyway, because that person's stupid.
Okay. I don't know if I would go that far, but that does lead to my next question, and really our last question.
Yeah.
Is if someone does propose, and for whatever reason, whether the proposal sucks or you're just not interested or what have you, if someone says no, and I'll include women proposing to men because this is becoming more of a trend, which I don't hate, but I do think it's weird.
Nah, bro. Never once in my life have I ever considered getting down on one knee and asking a dude to marry me. If that's what would have been required for us to get married, we would have
we're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna put a pin in that and come back to that because I have a good question for you. But if the other person says no, is the event/date over? And also, is the relationship over?
Heck yeah. I mean, the date is definitely probably over.
So how does that work?
But even so, like,
I'm sure he or she picked you up.
But and that's the whole thing. Like, if you're doing like a whole proposal thing,
so I went out of my way to propose the way you wanted,
and then I say no.
Yeah.
Like, one, you're humiliated.
Correct.
Like, let's just start there.
Correct.
Do you still want to be at an event with apparently all these people that are important to her? And probably there are some people there that are important to you. And she just said no. Do you want to stay at that event?
Where do you go?
You go home. You leave something. No, I wouldn't expect for the person.
So when does a call get made?
What do you mean?
Somebody got to call someone, right? Or you just never speak again?
No, I'm saying like you talk about it eventually.
So who makes the call?
I mean, I think it should be the person who turned the proposal down.
Okay.
Like you said, especially if and it's not typical that a guy misses a cue that big.
I feel like I've seen quite a few people get turned down.
Yeah, but then you figure out later on why there was that disconnect. I think generally speaking, in a relationship, females are just like, when is he going to propose? When is he getting married? Well, when are we getting married?
Gotcha.
And a dude is just like, it's going to happen when it happens, and she'll be happy when it happens. Whereas I don't feel like it happens as frequently that a guy is just like, oh, I'm going to ask this chick I've been seeing for however long to marry me. And she says no. Like, dudes are generally very shocked when that happens.
I would imagine.
Yeah. But I won't say that I don't know, the relationship, that's a tough one because that really hurts a guy's pride. Like, yeah. And then when do you expect for him to ask you again? Because you already said no once. And I
mean, I think at that point, I would like to believe you would go to him at say y'all stay together and it's like, hey, just so you know, I think at this point you owe it to him to say, hey, I'm not rushing you. What I am saying is, if you ask me again, I will say yes this time.
So what dude is going to take that seriously? And at what point do you have that conversation?
Whenever you're ready to get married. Because I'm guessing if y'all stayed together, it was a not now.
Not now.
Which, obviously, in the moment you don't want to hear. But as time passes, maybe you can have a conversation as to what is lacking or where they are uncomfortable with marrying you. But
isn't that the purpose of a long engagement? Or is long engagement just so you have time to plan a big to-do?
Yeah, that's not typical. Like, you're not still figuring out if you want to marry someone during the engagement. Like, that's planning for the crazy future. And that's why I also I don't understand long engagements. Like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Now, if during the engagement period, someone loses their job, someone cheats, or someone gets something happens,
some off the wall situation,
then I can understand it being stretched out or elongated, or anything happens that would now cause pause, because typically as you get closer and closer to being married, you start to see more of a person, like of who they truly are. And a lot of that you still won't see until after you get married, but red flags might start to appear. I don't know why it works that way. It just works that way. Like, stuff just start happening, and you see it, and now you got to decide: do I want to move forward, or wow, like whoa, I didn't know that was a thing.
This person?
So I think that could be it. But long engagements to me don't make no sense. Like,
okay,
I'm not with it. Or the dude don't want to marry her, and that's what drags it out because he be dragging his feet.
Yeah,
and the woman doesn't want to hold him accountable. But that's my 2 cents.
What else?
But before we close, I did want to come back because you said And I should have wrote it down. What was the question? I said put a pin in.
I would not never
Propose.
propose to a man.
So by that logic, you talked about your mom has a lot of friends that are older, and the dating sucks. And we have a friend who was in a similar situation, and she didn't propose, but she had to go and approach the man with interest in him. And his point was, I would have never approached you because I didn't know you were interested. And that led to a proposal, and he traditionally proposed.
Yeah.
But would you say it's better, or would you, in making that statement that you would not never ever propose, in so many words, you're saying if a guy chooses not to propose to me, I would rather be single than take the risk to propose?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if I feel quote unquote desperate enough that...
So men who propose are desperate?
No.
So why is the woman desperate?
Because she's not waiting for him to do it. I don't.
So because of societal constructs, that makes her desperate and him not.
If that's how you want to put it, sure.
I'm asking a question. I'm just trying to get clarity.
I don't think a woman approaching a man to spark a conversation to initiate a relationship is the same as a woman proposing to a man marriage.
I would agree. But I think there are parallels.
I think if I have to ask you to marry me, either one, I'm rushing it in our relationship because I'm ready to get married. And I have not, and I'm waiting on you to do something that I feel like you should do, but you haven't done it yet. And there's clearly a reason as to why you haven't done it yet. Whether we've talked about it or not, there is a reason why you have not proposed yet. And instead of initiating that conversation with you, I'm just going to jump the gun and propose to you instead of trying to figure out why you haven't proposed yet. And that is setting yourself up for failure.
For what it's worth, typically when I've seen the women propose, the men don't be with it.
Yeah, it goes way left.
And I agree. I'm giving you a little bit of a hard time. But no, I think
he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Like the
he
Bible
could still find a wife if she proposed.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
I think that part's overblown. But
it's not the same.
Okay, it's not the same, but I do think that part is slightly overblown. But I think it's interesting, to say the least, because I have seen it more than I have in the past. I would not want that because you ain't gonna force me to get married.
But that's essentially what they're doing.
No, I mean I have a choice.
I mean, yeah, you can say
and
no.
Obviously you're not going to propose in the way that I want to be proposed to, because I'm sure we've never had that conversation.
You are so full of it.
So take that. Don't care about what I want, how I want to be proposed to. But yeah, I hope that everyone did have a good Valentine's Day weekend. Hopefully you got to spend time with someone today, and you don't have plans for tomorrow, because if you do, we know and understand, and more power to you. I feel like the world is empowering side chicks in a lot of TV shows. It is. So I feel like it's not the slight that it used to be. I
literally said that when we started the episode.
Yeah. Which is weird to me. And that brings up another question that we're not going to get to now, but
maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Maybe we can, some bonus material.
Or that.
Because we do need to talk about the Super Bowl halftime show, since we didn't get a chance to talk about it in all of our lovey-doveyness. Although I don't feel like this was like a super I love you type of Valentine. Like we're wearing all this pink and looking all happy, but I don't feel like we talked about a lot of like super happy I love you kind of stuff for our Valentine's Day episode.
Well, one, we didn't do much, and two, that's boring.
Okay.
You can come up with topics.
Look, I saw the notification before you hightailed your butt out of here on Saturday that you had done it. And then I didn't get the chance to do anything extra to said topics. But you're right. I could have.
Yeah.
I didn't.
We will also have a versus to recap. We finally got a versus, so there's a great chance that we will have something coming out this week. So make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing. Turn that bell on so you get the notifications of when we drop things, because you never know when the bomb going to drop. Should have the "you dropped a bomb on me" keyed up, but we don't.
We don't have a sound machine yet.
In closing, I love that I am from Washington, D.C. Well, not really from D.C. I was born in D.C., but I've lived in Virginia most of my life. Love that I'm from the DMV. Absolutely love that I'm from the DMV. I think we talked about this a while ago. I said somebody needs to come up with like a DMV anthem. New York got it. For those of you who haven't heard it, Fabio, Alicia Keys, and Kanye West released a song. It's Empire State of 9.2. I just had to use my platform to say that song's amazing. Like,
I haven't listened to it yet.
I don't know what rock you're hiding under, but that song, it came out this weekend. Amazing. It makes me, one point I was gonna say is, it makes me wish I was from New York. Like, if I'm from New York and that song comes on, I know New York clubs are going nuts when that song comes on. And hopefully people aren't dying when it comes on, but hopefully they're unifying together, socially distanced. But I just had to throw that in because that song, I said last year, Her's album, I thought was going to be, and it was around the same time frame, I thought it would be album of the year. I'm letting y'all know now, this is a contender for song of the year. So you heard it here first. Don't at me or complain and cry when you hear about it in award season. This song is amazing. So go check that out. It's not necessarily a great song for Valentine's Day, but it's dope. So fellas, go play that at your Super Bowl parties. Hopefully Super Bowl's already over. Yeah, so. Hopefully you played it at your Super Bowl party. If you didn't, play it before the verses to get you hyped. That's all that I have there. As we saw in this episode, in life, things happen. You have the power to choose what you do. You are the king. You are the queen of your life. Choose wisely. Always bet on you. And if you have been blessed by us, go ahead and bless us. Hit that Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all that stuff. We're legit. We're too legit to quit.
Oh my God.
So episode 49 coming right at you next Monday at noon. Take care.